Hey, thanks for everyone taking some time to be on this. And I just want to personally say thank you for not only your interest and involvement in like missional work at Pulpit Rock. Maybe you even gave financially to the Christmas offering, and I want to say thank you for believing in that and like leaning into the kingdom in that way. and it's great to be part of a church that holds that up as a value. Pando Collective, I still find people that are that kind of ask me like, what did you say? Did you say panda? Like, are we doing panda bears? Like what's going on? And so I know some of you have seen the video and you've kind of heard the explanation, but I'm going to do it really, really quick. Pando is what we believe the kingdom of God should look like. And it's the name of the largest living organism in the world, which is an aspen grove in Utah. And so while a lot of churches and ministries can get focused on just getting big themselves, their institution getting big, we really want to see Pulpit Rock through Pando Collective spread out like an aspen grove. So you can imagine like there are older trees that are dying, there are younger trees that are starting to pop up. And so the kingdom is constantly birthing new things and spreading out. And that word pando is actually a Latin word that means I spread out. And so that's why we use the term and the name, the Pando Collective. And what we envision is that Pulpit Rock can be a curator of a lot of missional practitioners, which is just fancy for people that are like doing kingdom work, especially in Colorado Springs, but also around the world. And we want to be a help to them and a networker of different things that they are doing. What I've found as a practitioner and someone who kind of teaches and trains this stuff is a lot of times people that have this kingdom impetus, this thing to go out and do something out on the streets or outside the walls of the church, they often are walking alone. They often are maybe a smaller organization. They're having to figure out their own journey, figure out their own help. And so we actually want to network some resources, people together, coaching, all those kinds of things so that we can all walk alongside each other and help these kingdom movements, to mobilize and to gain some momentum. And so that's the reason for the Pando Collective. I'm going to give you one story before we talk about Chauncey here in WeighOut Ministries, but to give you an example that you're really familiar with if you're here at Pulpit Rock, we have the bunk bed ministry that Luke started curating through Love Your Neighbor. And we have that whole wood shop, downstairs. So I introduced Luke to one of our Pando Network members, which is Pikes Peak Academy. And they work with at-risk youth kind of over in the downtown, south downtown side of town, and introduced them together. We went and had lunch. Luke and Mark Becker, the administrator of that school, really hit it off, and they started talking. And so to make a long story short, we now have some students from that school that come to Pulpit Rock once a week to the wood shop, and Luke actually teaches them woodworking and skills, and more than that, Luke gets to just pour himself out, as a really God-loving, wise man into these young men's hearts and lives. And so it's a really good example of how God has taken some relationships that we have and kind of knit them together so that they work together. And so Pikes Peak Academy is loving Pulpit Rock being involved, and we're loving having some kids come in that we can spend some time in their life. So that's one example of what we hope to see hundreds of stories like that with Pando Collective, and that's why it exists. Another ministry that we are deeply involved with, because we know this man right here, Chauncey Labrie, he's been doing work in Southeast Colorado Springs for years. Everyone down there knows him. And he's been working with at-risk kids and middle schools and different things like that. And we've got some really exciting stuff we're working on, like right now at present, that I'm going to let him explain. But I'm going to give it over to Chauncey, and maybe you could just start by letting people know what is WeighOut Ministries, what do you guys do, and why do you do it?
Hey, all right. So I am Chauncey Labrie with WeighOut Ministries, and we are an organization in the southeast part of Colorado Springs who works with at-risk youth. And we are partnered with Harrison School District 2, working with students to help with some character development, some life skill applications. We want to get into some entrepreneurship training, and we want to provide a safe space for our youth on that side of town to be able to come in and feel welcomed, to feel loved, and to have a place where they can seek help from trusted adults who've built relationships with them over a span of time that they could conversate with, open up to, and really be able to express who they are, or have a safe place to be who they are, and to so that we can be able to cultivate, those relationships, and just be a deep rooted part of that community, that we could be there for our members in that community in a way that is life-giving.
So one of the platforms or the spaces that you've been invited into, even as a faith community, is into public schools.
Yes.
Right. And so that kind of shows, it's amazing to me that the public school has invited a faith-based organization. And I know you have to be careful, maybe, teaching the gospel or something, but
right.
They actually see you as a help. So talk a little bit about Carmel Middle School, Panorama Middle School, which Pulpit Rock is now a partner. We've adopted that school to help on some stuff. What are some of the things that you do in conjunction with schools?
So schools, wow, God is really good. He has opened the doors for us to be able to go into the schools. We pretty much have a lot of freedom. We can go in at will, roam the halls, visit classrooms, pull kids out of classrooms, and talk to them, or de-escalate situations that occur in those classrooms or on campus. We do a lot of mentoring, and so we're pretty much a soundboard for students that are really having a hard time with staying in class, kids that are often getting suspended or in school suspensions or whatever. We come alongside them and really help open their minds to a different way of thinking. And so whereas kids are kind of one-tracked, I know we can all get one-tracked in a lot of ways, we open up their minds and give them ways of thinking outside of themselves, thinking in ways that they've never thought along those lines. And so we like to provide opportunities. We like to provide different methods and ways of dealing with issues and problems, coping with school issues, family issues, community-related issues. We help them to feel safe and comfortable in who they are and how they respond to certain problems and issues that they face in society.
Yeah, that's great. So to get to some exciting things that are going on now, I mean, one of the goals of Pando is to resource a kingdom dream. So that's kind of how I like to say it. So when someone has a kingdom dream and they need some kind of resourcing, whether it's financial or coaching or just someone walking alongside of them, that kind of thing, we want to be a network that can help come along. And when we started talking about Pando being part of the Christmas offering, One of the biggest kingdom dreams that we knew about was that WeighOut Ministries wanted to have a space right in the middle of the neighborhood so that you're not just relying on going to the schools, which has been hard during COVID,
Right.
but you would have a place where kids can actually come to.
Yes.
That's inside. So kind of a clubhouse, right? Yep. I'm calling it jokingly the WeighOut Hangout. I'm still thinking that should be the name. But anyway, kind of an incarnational space right there in the neighborhood where you can have a tangible presence with kids, right? And so tell us a little bit about what's going on in the space you're looking at.
We are super excited, and we are really thankful for Pulpit Rock, Pando for coming alongside us in helping our dreams come true. And so we have found the space right on Shelton and Jetwing, on the corner of Shelton and Jetwing, which is a prime location for a community clubhouse.
So it's a block away, right, from Panorama?
It's a block away from Panorama. It's less than a half a mile away from Carmel Middle School. It's not even a block away from Sierra High School. So it's a central location for students to gather, for us to really be embedded in the community and really grow some roots and establish a presence in the community. This space is going to be huge. I mean, there is no places in the Southeast where kids can congregate, where they can gather, where they can feel safe and have access to trusted adults and really be able to learn new things and grow in who they are as a person. It's a great opportunity for us to meet families and really build deep relationships with the community as a whole. This space will allow us to, it would allow us to really invest in the community, in the lives of the people in the Southeast. So that's really awesome. And we're super excited for what's to come and what God is going to do in that space.
Yeah. So Chauncey's invited us into that process. I've gotten to walk the space with him, meet with the landlord, who's really easy to work with. And so hopefully Pando and you guys will be writing a really generous check toward getting that up and going and having a place in the Southeast where WeighOut can reach kids. But that's an example of some of the things that we want to do with Pando and we want to continue to do going forward. And so, yeah. So
another thing, I mean, this space will also allow, I guess you could say, outsiders. It would allow outsiders, people that are outside of Southeast Colorado Springs, to be able to come in and also build relationships and fellowship with the families and community members in that area. And so it's like a church being planted where, you know, the congregants come in and they leave, but the church that's there, the organization that's there, is to stay. So it'll be a consistency, and it wouldn't be like the community members looking at it in the way of outsiders coming in to help and provide a service. It's a home. You know, we want it to be a home, an intimate space, welcome, you know, that welcomes all. And so when the community members, families, kids, or whatever, when they see people coming in with smiles on their face, you know, wanting to serve and wanting to help, they won't look at it as, oh, they're just coming in wanting to do what they want to do and then they'll leave. We'll be there to stay. You know, we're there to stay. And so it's more of a partnership. And so family members who's coming in from out of state, coming to visit, you know, we don't look at them as strangers coming in to you know, implement their whatever ideas or thoughts or whatever. It's like, hey, they're coming to help us grow something that's family, you know?
Well, we are really looking forward to being part of seeing this, come to fruition and grow and to hopefully be part of that too, to be some of those people that can come down and help and support and actually learn from you, not just bring what we think we know, but learn how we can be better neighbors to people in Southeast. So thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Sharing a little bit. And if you'd like to know anything about Pando or WeighOut Ministries, or you want to get in contact with Chauncey, feel free to email me off of the church website, and I'd love to hook you up with a coffee or a Zoom call or something. But thanks for listening to us for a few minutes.